Alright, boys and girls, we have Unit 6, Lesson 17, Modeling with Inequalities. So number 1, 28 students travel on a field trip. They bring a van that can seat 12 students. Elena and Karen's teacher asked parents to drive cars that seat 3 children each to transport the rest of the students. Elena wonders if she should use the inequality of 12 plus 3n is greater than 28, or 12 plus 3n is greater than or equal to 28 to figure out how many cars are needed. Karen doesn't think it matters in this case. Do you agree with Karen? Explain your reasoning. So the only difference between these two inequalities is the symbol. So one symbol is just greater than, and one is greater than or equal to. 28 represents the amount of students traveling on the field trip. 12 is that van that has the 12 students. And 3n, 3 is the number of children they're transporting, and n is the amount of those cars. So this number, our 12 students and our 3 students in each car, is greater than 28, or is it greater than or equal to 28? Well, in this case, it doesn't matter. So yes, I agree with Karen. And why? So there can't be fractions of cars here, so n would have to be a whole number. If I was to solve this, 12 plus 3n equals 28, so I'm minus 12 on both sides here. 3n, 28 minus 12 is 16, divided by 3, and oops, I made it oopsie daisy, and would equal 5.3 repeating. So we can't have a third of a car here, so we would have to bump that up to 6 cars. And so, yep, that number is going to have to be greater. Okay, 2a. In the cafeteria, there's one large 10-seat table and many smaller 4-seat tables. There are enough tables to fit 200 students. Write an inequality whose solution is the possible number of 4-seat tables in the cafeteria. So remember in class I said we'll start with our total. Our total is 200 students is what we have. Now, can our students at these tables be greater than or less than? Well, enough to fit at least 200 students. So this could be greater than or equal to. And then we have that one large table is the 10, plus many smaller 4-seat tables. I don't know how many tables that is. That's 4x. So 4x plus 10 is greater than or equal to 200. B, 5 barrels catch rainwater in the schoolyard. 4 barrels are the same size, and the 5th barrel holds 10 liters of water. Combined, the 5 barrels can hold at least 200 liters of water. Write an inequality whose solution is the possible size of each of the 4 barrels. So again, 200 is our total. Okay, at least 200, so this number can be greater than or equal to 200. And then I have a barrel that does hold 10. And then I have 4 barrels that can hold X amount, so 4x. So 4x plus 10 is greater than or equal to 200. How are these two problems similar and how are they different? So these two inequalities One has to be whole numbers. Like this one would have to be whole numbers because we're talking about kids. So in the first one, x has to be whole numbers. And the second one, since we're talking about liters, that could be any number. It could be a decimal. And what's similar is that they both have the symbol of greater than or less than. $200, even though the 200 means something different in each of those. Okay, 3, solve each equation. Okay, so we've got plenty of space over here, so let's do that. A, we have 5 times n minus 4 equals negative 60. Two options to solve this. I'm going to choose division first. So let's cancel. I have n minus 4 and negative 60 divided by 5 is negative 12. Opposite of a negative 4 is plus 4, so I'm adding 4 to each side. So n would equal negative 8. So n equals negative 8. Okay, B. Negative 3t plus negative 8 equals 25. So I'm going to have to add 8 to both sides first. So negative 3t equals 25 plus 8, which is 33, divided by negative 3. T equals negative 11. That's right over there so I can see it. Alright. C. We have 7p minus 8 equals negative 22. So we're going to add 8 to each side, which leaves us with 7p equals negative 14. Divide both sides by 7. P equals negative 2. Okay, D. 2/5 j plus 40 equals negative 4. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that 2/5 first. Since I have parentheses, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm multiplying both sides by 5/2, which is going to leave me with the j plus 40 equals 4 times 5 is actually, I'm going to cross simplify 1 and 2. I'm sorry, this is negative 2 times 5, negative 10 is what I have there. Alright, and then I'm going to subtract 40 from both sides. J would equal negative 10 minus 40 is negative 50. So J equals negative 50. Okay, and E, 4W plus 1 equals negative 6. So this one, I'm actually going to use the distributive property and just do this. So 4W plus 4 equals negative 6. Subtract 4 from each side. Leaves me with 4W. This would be negative 10. And we're dividing by 4. W equals negative 10 fourths, which I could also simplify. 2 goes into both of those. Goes in here 5, negative 5/2. Be that one. So W equals negative 5/2, or I could even write negative 2.5 for my solution. 4, select all the inequalities that have the same graph as x is less than 4. X is less than 2. Nope, that's not less than 4. Okay, x plus 6 is less than 10, so in order to compare, it has to look like this. So I can solve this, change it to an equation. So I'm subtracting 6 from each side, so x equals 4, so that would be x is less than 4, so that one works. See, I got to do the same thing. 5x equals 20, divide both sides by 5, x equals 4, bring that sign back, x is less than 4, so that works. All right, D, I have x minus 2 equals 2, so I add 2 to both sides, so x equals 4. Bring my original sign back, x is greater than 4. Well, that does not work. All right, the last one I have x is less than 8. That is obviously not the same thing, so that doesn't work. So B and C for that one. Number 5. A 200-pound person weighs 33 pounds on the moon. How much did the person's weight decrease? So all we have to do is subtract and find the difference here. So 200 minus 33 is 167 pounds. By what percentage did the person's weight decrease? So that's where we're going to take our difference, 167, and divide it by the original amount of pounds, 200. So 167 divided by 200 gives me 0.835, but I want a percent, so I move that decimal 1, 2 places to the right. So that would be 83.5%. Okay, please let me know if you have any questions.